What is going on, New York Giants football fans? We are back today, and before we get into our 1960s ticket stubs, I just wanted to show you a little piece of history here that I found that I did not mention in the 1970s video. This is a booklet that was given out to, I believe, season ticket holders from the old Yankee Stadium, and it basically describes what the new Giants Stadium in 1976 would look like. And the cover has a cutout there of a football helmet with the Empire State Building behind it. A little creative touch there. Then we have a picture of the new Giant Stadium from 1976. Some artwork there, a little description there at the bottom on the right-hand corner of the page. Then we have moving yes, leaving no, and some kind of directions about the different amenities and the different things that they were planning on having at the Giant Stadium. When, what, and when. And as you can see here, 1975 was the original date for the stadium, but as we all know, Shea Stadium was the Giants' home in 1975, and the stadium opened in 76. One little interesting nugget here that I want to bring to your attention. If we look at this little statement here, Giant Stadium will be part of a multi-sport area being planned by the New Jersey Sports Complex on a 750-acre tract of land located on what is known as Hackensack Meadows. Interesting. Also projected are a major racetrack, which we got, an indoor arena for professional basketball and hockey, which we got, a Major League Baseball stadium, that never happened, and a modern hotel. So I thought the baseball stadium thing was interesting, that it was actually here in print. Never happened, obviously, but kind of neat that it's here. Something must have happened. I don't know what, but we never got that. Then we go to the next couple pages talking about the seats and how many seats are in the stadium. Their estimates were correct. There were between 75,000 and 80,000, so that was right on target. You'll be there before you know it. A little travel guide there, how to get to the stadium. All roads lead to Giant Stadium again. Another page talking about transportation. And then another one over here. When you arrive, a place for your car. They're talking about the parking lot and how, it's available for people to tailgate and such. And then over here, we have a lovely couple down there. Nice 1970s couple. Then we have a section over here that gives you a little bit more information. Then for your eating pleasure, this was, the beginning of the VIP suites and things like that they had at the old stadium. And then we have another lovely couple from the 70s, nice glasses, talking about the amenities that they would have and the food and all that kind of thing. And then a little bit extra stuff, that there would be phones on each level and security and restrooms and all that good stuff. And then here is an overview shot of what they anticipated the stadium to look like. Pretty good. But I thought this was a little interesting thing to share before we get to today's tickets. And there's the back cover. All right, so that takes care of that. Now we'll get down to business and we'll get down to our tickets. So we're going to start with 1969. Okay, so the 60s were a pretty interesting decade for the Giants. We started off very, very well. We actually got to 3 championship games. 1961, 1962, and 1963. We lost them all, but we made it to them. So the way that the playoffs were set up back then, you had an Eastern champion and a Western champion, and whoever won each division would play each other in the NFL championship game. So we won the division all 3 of those years. Unfortunately, we lost all 3, but we did make it to the championship game. And we actually made it as well in 58 and 59, and we lost to the Colts in both of those years. So we were very good during the early parts of the 60s. Towards the tail end of the 60s, not so much, which we'll get to a little bit today. So first game here we have is what we call the Bishop's Charity Game. And this is a game that is still going on today in Green Bay. This was, as you can see here, the 9th Bishop Charities game. And it started in 1961. They donate the money from the game to a charity, a local church, a local charity, and that is something that is still going on today. So that was the first preseason game, 1969. Then we have our annual Giants-Jets game from the Yale Bowl. Then the rest of this page are preseason games, which I do not have currently. Okay, then we get to the Detroit Lions on the road. Game number 2, 1969. Game number 3. The Redskins away game, 1969. Away at Dallas, which I don't have. Game number 4, this is a home game at Yankee Stadium. Then I'm missing at St. Louis and versus the Saints. And then this is a Cleveland Browns away game from 1969. This is a regular season game at Milwaukee against the Packers. This is game number 6. I'm missing the Steelers game from 69. And then this is our final home game, game number 7. So we close out the 60s, 1969, with a 6-8 record. Not terrible, but we've seen worse and we've seen better. Okay, 1968. We start 68 off with the Bishop's Charity game again. So we played them in 68 again. Here is a really nice ticket. This is the Atlanta Falcons, 1968. Just very nice graphic, very good detail there. And that was the second preseason game. Then we have the Cardinals. And in this particular year, 1968, I'm only missing one ticket for the entire collection, the entire year, including the preseason. So this is one that I almost have all of them. This is the annual Giants-Eagles game from Palmer Stadium. This is the Giants-Steelers in Pittsburgh. And then this is the Giants and the Eagles again in Philadelphia, in Franklin Field. On this page, we have game 1 at Yankee Stadium, and we're looking at $6 for the tickets in 1968. There is game number 2, and then there is game number 3 against the Falcons. Again, another really nice job by Atlanta with their tickets. That's pretty good for 1968. October the 20th, right here. Then we have an away game. Sorry about the lighting. Then we have an away game against Washington, right there. We have a home game, game number 4. I'm missing at Dallas. That's the one that I'm missing from 68. I have everything else. This is game 5. And then this is the Rams, November 24th, 1968. Then we wrap up 68 with a away game against Cleveland. And then here are 2 full tickets from 1968, so you kind of get an idea of what they look like. This is upper reserved, I believe, upper deck, open stand seating. Okay, so they're $4 a piece. Here is the full ticket. The one on the left is against the Cardinals, as you see. The one on the right against Dallas. And from this era, all of the tickets pretty much look the same. They all have the game in the box like that, and then they have the team in the middle, and then the stub on the end there. So they're all pretty much the same. 1968, we finish up with a 7-7 record. Okay, 1967. The first ticket I have here is against Dallas. 1967, the away game against Dallas. Then we have the Redskins. And the Redskins tickets really look the same from this era. They have that background with the red, and it's a pretty nice ticket for the time. Like 1967 right here. And again, the tickets are $4 at this point in time. Pittsburgh I'm missing. Then I have game 2 and game 3, which were home games for the Giants at Yankee Stadium. Then I have an away game here against the Chicago Bears, game number 4, home game. Then we go to Cleveland, game number 6, December 10th. And we close out 1967 with game number 7, December 17th. And 1967 was a 7-7 team. Not bad. But 1966 was not a very good team. As you can see here, 1-12-1. And this would be the worst winning percentage for a Giants team ever in history. So 1966, not a very good season for the New York Football Giants. The first ticket that I have here is a preseason game against the Lions, and that was played at the Yale Bowl. Then I have a ticket here against the Steelers. And then I have the Giants' first home game here, October the 2nd. And you could see lost on there, and that was a common theme in 1966. Not our finest hour whatsoever. Game number 2 is right up there. Then we have an away game against the Rams, November 13th, 1966. Game number 5 at home. Game number 6 over here. And then game number 7 in the bottom right hand corner. Did I miss one there? Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed one. Let's go back. This one here is the Cleveland Browns away ticket from 1966. That was hiding behind one of the other tickets. So that takes care of 1966. 1965, the first ticket I have is Giants Steelers. This was at the Yale Bowl. Then we have Giants Eagles. This one was at Palmer Stadium again, that annual game that they played. Now this next one is interesting. This is a doubleheader right here. Giants Lions and Cleveland and Green Bay. And we saw a doubleheader game yesterday, or the other day, in when we did our 70s video. This is the 4th annual NFL Festival of Football doubleheader. So Giants Lions, and then you got 2 for the price of 1. You got Cleveland and you got Green Bay. Pretty good deal. Then we have another preseason game that was played at Omaha, which I don't have, against the Vikings. And then the opening game was the 19th at Dallas, which I don't have. Okay, then we have the Eagle away game, which was at University of Pennsylvania, Franklin Field. It's the Eagles. Then over here we have Giants, and I believe this is the Vikings, if I remember. I think that's how their tickets looked. And we got a $5 ticket there. Not a bad deal. Then October 17th, October 24th, and October 31st. All home games, all in a row, 1965. And just like the 70s, they, made the Giants wait out their home games until later off in the year so the Yankees could finish up their season. Then we have game 4 the following week, so another home game. So 4 in a row. Then we finally go on the road to Cleveland, November the 14th. Another road game, the 21st, against St. Louis. And then we're back home for 2. We have game 5 and game 6. And then this one over here is game 7. So we do have an away game mixed in there at the Redskins, which I don't have. But those are the 3 home games that wrapped up 1965. And 1965, we finished up at 7-7. Okay, 1964, we have 3 preseason games here on the top. I believe that one in the middle that I don't have is the Bishop's Charity game, which we discussed earlier. And then this one over here is an interesting one. We played the Redskins in Ithaca, New York. And not many people attended that game, so that's going to be a tough one to get. But we'll keep trying. Okay, so the first one we have here is Giants-Eagles, the annual game at Palmer Stadium. You're seeing that every single year. That was an annual thing. And here we are again, back to the doubleheader game. Once again, Giants and the Lions. And then we had Green Bay and Cleveland. So this is the 3rd year that they did that. And then we have the Eagles and the Giants once again. So we played the Eagles a bunch of times. This was the Franklin Field game. The other one was at Palmer Stadium in Princeton. Okay, the next ticket that I have is September 25th, game 1 at home. Then we have a Lions away ticket. Pretty nice looking. Then game number 2 at home, $5 ticket now. This is the away Cleveland Browns game. Then on this page we have 2 home tickets, game 3 and game 4. Game number 5, right there. Game number 6. And game number 7. And 1964, 2-10-2. Not a good season for our beloved Giants. Okay, 1963, we have another game at Ithaca against the Bears. And we have the second professional doubleheader, Festival of Football. So now this time we played the Lions, and then the second game was the Colts and the Browns. So I have all of these doubleheader tickets that the Giants have played, and I have one other one that I'll show you momentarily. Here is our annual Giants-Eagles game at Palmer Stadium, once again. This one, very nicely done for the time period, 1963, to have all those colors and the Colt in the middle of the logo there. Just a nice ticket. This was the Giants against the Colts, September 15th, 1963. Then we have the Giants and the Steelers up here. DJ Day. Hey, all right. Then we have the Giants and Eagles at Palmer Stadium. Once again, I'm sorry, this is Franklin Field. That was the regular season game. Then we have two home games here. Game 1, Game 2, and the Browns, once again. You're seeing a lot of the same teams over and over, and that was the kind of the theme back then because there wasn't as many teams, obviously. So we played, a lot of the Browns, a lot of the Steelers, a lot of the Packers. Here's games 3 and 4 at home. Game number 5 at home. This was the away Dallas game. This was game number 6. This was game number 7 at home. Okay, so now we get to 1963 full ticket. So here's what a full ticket would look like, going up from the top to the bottom. Pretty much same ticket that you've seen the last couple of years with the Giants. They didn't really change too much. Everything was pretty much the same. In 1963, we made it to the championship game, as I discussed at the beginning of the video. This is what they used to call a pass. This is what they used to call a pass-out check, where they would let you leave the stadium and then come back into the stadium, and you needed this to get back in. So I have that. And then this right here is one of the championship games from this era. This is the game that we lost to the Bears. This is a pretty expensive ticket and a tough one to get a hold of. This is, we were the Eastern champions, obviously. The Bears were the Western champions. We played each other. The Bears beat us in that game, I believe 14-10, if my memory serves. But that's one of the championship games from this era right there. Okay, so before we get to 1962, I just wanted to show you this. This is the first pro doubleheader ticket ever. This was the Detroit, Dallas, and Cleveland, Pittsburgh. It's not a Giants ticket, but I thought it was pretty cool to throw in here. And then this right here would be an envelope that the tickets would go in. August 1962, first doubleheader in pro football history. So just a nice piece of NFL history right here. Non-Giants, but still cool nonetheless. Okay, 1962. We start off with a game against the Cardinals, August 11th, 1962. Then we go down to our annual game against the Eagles at Palmer. Giants-Browns, once again. And then we go over to Franklin Field, Giants-Eagles. It's kind of like, the same thing over and over, repeat, but that's the way it was back then. Then we have Giants-Steelers at Pittsburgh. And then we get into our Giants home games. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Now in this Game 3, Del Schaffner broke the Giants record, which still stands today, believe it or not, for 269 receiving yards in a game. And everybody says we're in a passing league now and all that stuff. But this record still stands as the game where, a player on the Giants had the most receiving yards in a game. Game number 4, home game. Game number 5. This one is a Redskins home game. It kind of looks very similar to ours, but that is a Redskins home game. Then we have the Bears on the road. Giants home game number 6, Giants home game number 7, and then our 1962 championship game, which we lost to the Packers. Here is the ticket. It was played in Yankee Stadium. So we have the Bears ticket from 63. We have this one from 62. And now we roll on to 1961, our final championship game of this decade. The first couple of preseason games I'm missing. The first game I have is game number 1 right here, September 17th. Then game number 2 against the Steelers on the road. Then we have a couple of home games here in a row. October 22nd, October 29th, November 5th, November 12th, November 19th. All home games, all in a row. So that's 5 home games in a row. Probably would never happen today unless something, happened with the schedule. Here's our away Browns game that we played every year. This is the away Packer game. And then on next page is December 10th, so we'll turn to December 10th. Here is the away Eagles game that we played at Franklin Field every year. That's December the 10th. And here's Game 7 to close out 1961. And 1961, we did lose 37-0 to the Packers. So not a very memorable game for us. But it was a memorable season. We finished 10-3-1. We lost to the Packers in the championship. I do not have that one, but I will get it eventually. I just do not have it yet. And then our final year, 1960. There was a bunch of preseason games in the beginning of 1960. One was played even in Toronto against the Bears. One was played in Jersey City against the Packers. One was played in Louisville. One was played in New Haven, Connecticut. One was played in LA against the Rams. And then we had the 49ers. So we were all over the place. We had 6 preseason games that year, all over the map. The first game that I have from 1960 is right here, October the 16th at Yankee Stadium. And we go on. Game number 2. Again, October 30th, Yankee Stadium. Then the Cleveland away game that we usually play. Nice little mascot there on the ticket. Game number 3, Yankee Stadium. And then we move down here to the Redskin game. I believe this is, yes, Redskin away game down there. December 18th is on the next page. And here it is. Nice full ticket from 1960. $5 still. And the tickets pretty much look exactly the same. They added that little spiral logo to the middle of the ticket, but everything else looks pretty much exactly the same as it did the entire decade. Nothing pretty much changed, but that's that's the way they did the tickets back then. 1960, we finished off with a 6-4-2 record. Okay, so that takes care of the 60s, and as you can see through the pages here, I do have a lot of tickets left to go. Next time we will talk about the 50s. And then we will, after that, we'll do a video with the 40s and the 30s. So as you can see, we have a lot of pages left to go. We're getting towards the end here, but we do have a sizable bunch of tickets left to discuss and take a look at. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I always love going through this binder and going through all the history and taking a look at the prices and things. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll join me next time for the 50s. And go Big Blue.